to Jon Sopel, co-presenter of the podcast The News Agents and The News Agents USA, both available on Global. Jon stayed up through the night to watch it so you didn't have to, and joins me now. Jon, first question occurs to me. Who's running the United States of America? Good morning.
Nick, good morning. I mean, it was grim. And that last bit, they're two men sort of in the daycare facility arguing about the TV remote control. And no, I want to watch the racing at Lingfield. No, I want to watch the tennis. I mean, it was lamentable at times. And the fact of the matter is that this debate was much more about Joe Biden than it was about Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the same as he was 4 years ago, the same as he was 8 years ago. You either like him or you hate him, you think he's a liar or you think he's telling the truth, you think he's got the answers to Americans' problems or he's going to make them worse. For Joe Biden, it was, can he stay upright for 90 minutes without dozing off? He just about passed that, but his mental acuity, his drifting off, his losing the answer, and that was in the first 5 minutes of the debate, was just absolutely shocking. And so, oh my word, what a choice the American people have in November. Is Biden in control of events? I mean, there was a really interesting question. As you say, I stayed up through the night. Yeah. I then heard on CNN, they interviewed Kamala Harris, and there was a really great question that Anderson Cooper put to her, which was, so what we saw on the debate stage, is that what you see every day? And there was a long pause before she answered, because, of course, I suspect that is what she does see every day.
What you're uniquely positioned with your knowledge of politics here and over in the US, they don't have the equivalent of men in grey suits who could go into the study today with a loaded revolver, do they?
No, but there is panic in the Democratic Party. I mean, I've been, because of course the time difference worked in my favour, and so I've been messaging people in the States as it was going on. There are people I've heard from who just think that it's awful and they have to do something and this cannot go on. Remember, this debate was meant to prove that Biden was up for the fight. He has spent the past week preparing for it. His voice sounded thin and reedy. The one person, the nearest thing to the men in grey suits, is the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. She is the one person who could prevail upon him and say, Joe, enough is enough. And you'd have to say, and if it was, I kind of felt like I was sort of at a boxing match where you're pleading with the ref to throw or his corner to throw the towel in and say, enough, let's stop this fight. I think it is pretty shocking if we still get to the election in November and Biden is still on the ticket.
Would he come under is the convention in August? They normally are. Will he come under pressure there, John?
Yeah, I think the pressure will come now and it will be intense. And even CNN even had his former director of communications, who was meant to be there to say, yeah, he did really well. And they came off the debate and she said, I can't pretend that was good.
Right.
So if that's what your corner is saying. So I think that there will be intense pressure. And I actually think that if they could find somebody, people will start thinking, well, who are the people that could be the nominee for the Democratic Party? But it would be a game changer. I mean, I think that Trump did too well last night because I think it showed Biden up to be not really credible as a presidential candidate for the next 4 years. And if you get someone who is new, young, competent, able to string a sentence together, able to make an argument, that could expose Donald Trump. So I don't know whether the Democrats will pull the break the emergency glass and pull the ripcord. They need to.
Okay. Lastly, what's the significance of this? David Plouffe, if I'm saying it correctly, the arch strategist Democrat, saying it's effectively game over. He can't find any way to support Joe Biden. How relevant is that, John?
So Plouffe was one of the key people around Obama, one of the really smart people who was the sort of strategist and very, very clever, very, very plugged in. Find me the voice that says Joe Biden is in great form. I saw, just very quickly, Nick, I saw Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, when she was in London a few weeks ago. She said to me repeatedly when I met her at the US Embassy, Biden is fine, age is not a problem. He's going to beat Donald Trump in November. You are whistling Dixie, Nancy.
John, thank you for your time and thanks for staying up. Jon Sopel, watched it so you didn't have to. He is, of course, co-presenter of the global podcast, The News Agents and The News Agents USA.